Welcome to the Triple Takeover Toycast, a fortnightly podcast all about Transformers, and yes, occasionally other toy lines as well, but tonight we're definitely talking Transformers. It's episode 108, and we're going to get at it again with Missing Link, because I don't think we ever really talked about that on this podcast before, Missing Link, have we? It's a bit of a subject that we've steered clear of, hasn't it, Liam?
Yeah. And, half the time I don't even know it exists. It's just like in a quiet corner of the internet. But
we've been very reserved about it. We do, don't we? Yeah. I mean, Jason, we've obviously sacked because he was just being so horrible to us. So we had to get another person in to fill the ranks out a little bit.
To Tahiti. It's a wonderful place.
Is it indeed? Yeah. No, I should clarify. He's on holiday. We've not actually sacked him before anybody gets worried. But
he's probably sat listening to it going, "Oh no!
Oh no!"
Oh, no. Swigging the kind of Italian brew in his kilt.
Yeah,
oh, no.
Very likely. But we got. I was about to say the next best thing, but the person we have got is probably not going to appreciate being told that he's the next best thing to Jason. But we've got something as good as Jason.
The Return of the King.
Here he is. It's Maz.
I was satisfied with the next best thing, actually.
Really, were you?
I was okay with that.
Okay, sure.
He's back.
I am back.
Yeah.
They promised it on stage, and very, very near a whole year afterwards. I should have let you go back on stage and apologise.
It would have been awful.
TF Nation before turning up.
Contractually obliged appearance.
I was like, at the very least, we need to make it happen before August, because in last August we said you would come back on the pod, and then here we are. It's bloody nearly July, but we made it happen.
God, it happened. Yes. Astonishingly late.
And all you had to do was get rid of Jason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, now Jason, I'll come back.
Jason suddenly, all of a sudden, was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm off on holiday. See yous." And we were
That's astonishing. I just honestly, every conversation I'd seen between you guys where someone was sick or someone was abroad, it was just like, okay, we'll just work around it. But this was like, you know what? Screw that guy. Carrying on regardless.
He's far too happy.
Tahiti, is it? Yeah.
He is far too happy. He's got the vibes. He's taken them with him. So, but Maz, this was relatively easy getting you back on. I was like, when you said I'm up for it, I was like, is he actually going to come on? Is he going to do it?
It coincides with a period of time where a couple of people actually asked me on two various occasions, "What do you do for fun?" And I was like, fun? I have lost all identity and personality. I'm just the father of a 4-year-old and a 13-year-old. I have a very demanding job. I don't do fun, guys. I'm sorry. But it was a little bit just like in the trenches for a couple of years. And work has become so much better. I remember like the reason I stepped away because I imagined that things were going to get a bit hectic at work, and they did for about a year and a half. It's all a lot better now. And
that's good.
I started posting these images on social media of the Transformers toy line from the start, whatever toys I had, and just recycling photos. And then I got to a few gaps and I thought, I can't really do 1985 without a picture of Perceptor, can I? So then I went and started digging toys out of storage, and I started really enjoying doing photos again.
Nice.
And so I've been pulling out things like Predaking and stickering up a reissue Predaking, which has been an absolute blast. I did a G1 Nor, which is the first time I properly handled it since buying it nearly 2 years ago. So the hobby kind of, that feeling of doing something in the evening, even though it's a real headache to go downstairs, move like 15 tubs, ruin my already bad back, get a toy out, bring it upstairs, set the studio up in the living room to take a photo, take 3 photos, pack it all up again, take it down to storage, all that stuff, and then have 3 photos to show for it. But it's been super fun. So when you suggested, actually, timing was spot on. I thought I would absolutely love it. And of course, Missing Link. Missing Link is now hitting its stride. And that is the single most excited I've been about Transformers for, God, I don't even know how many years.
You are our Missing Link.
Oh.
Yeah. It's very appropriate to have you back as our Missing Link to talk Missing Link.
I'm so happy. This is like the best day. I love Jason too. I miss you, Jason, but Maz is back now, guys. It's like new Coke.
This isn't going to sound good to him at all.
I was going to say, poor old Jason. It's the fact that all through this week, Liam keeps posting GIFs going, "I'm so excited, I'm so happy." And it's
I miss him. I've not seen him in like...
looking at this.
Well, that's kind of the worst part, isn't it? It's not just that I haven't done the pod, it's that we don't get to chat like we used to. So there's just, we don't see each other's faces. I haven't done TF Nation last year. I won't be doing it this year. So it's just another year that I don't see most of you. You guys don't live in London, so when I visit London, I don't see you either.
Yeah.
Forest have beat Manchester United twice in that time, and I haven't even got to rub it in for the one time that I could possibly.
I have a feeling you'll get many more opportunities to be perfectly honest.
You're not going to get the opportunity now either, Liam. You'll be sorry to hear, but because we've got Transformers to talk about. But you are right. I mean, Missing Link, I think for me right now is definitely the most exciting thing going on. I mean, I have been poring over the Sunstreaker and Corden pictures as they're coming in rapid fire. And we should stress that at this point, because whenever we do one of these episodes, inevitably it's kind of a little bit out of date as soon as it lands. And that's just the nature of Missing Link, because they're announcing new stuff all the time. There's always something happening. What
was it last week?
Speak,
what was it last week we did? We said something, and the next day they.
The funny thing was
the stream stuff, right?
Like, the last episode, in the Megatron episode that we just did, episode 107, we said, they should absolutely bring the whole prototype, like show off some prototypes or show off some really early toys, just get it much earlier on the streams, but maybe they can't do that.
Beat the leakers.
And exactly. And then they did exactly that, like a couple of days later.
Did you say beat the leakers?
Beat the leakers.
Yeah, that's what it says on my grown-up nappies.
Wow. Okay. On that bombshell.
Yeah, and hey, I was saying I've got nothing to say about myself. I guess I was wrong.
Yeah.
I suppose you've been away and you've been pampered then.
Right, yes.
Good God. Just like old times.
It's just
rapidly
like old
trying
times.
to think of a pull-up joke, but like, wow, out of practice.
I need some huggies.
Oh, dear. But I messaged Evan from Hasbro and just said, I think this is brilliant. You should totally do more of this. And, I just thought it was incredible that we just said it. But so, at the present time, as we're recording this, Corden and Sunstreaker have been released.
People in Asia have them in hand.
Exactly. There are pictures circulating on the internet. We don't have them in hand yet. I think we're probably due to get them within the next week or so, give or take, but it just depends on shipping.
I haven't pre-ordered them.
What?
I completely forgot.
Well, I think one of the UK retailers has started to ship them now.
Yeah.
So they will be in hand tomorrow, day after in the UK.
Right.
At the latest.
Amazing. So Liam, are you gonna track him down?
Yeah. I just completely forgot. I just genuinely forgot it was happening this soon. And then when I looked at
I've
pre-orders,
been asking for about 6 months. Is it July yet? Is it July yet? Is it July yet?
It's just one of those things where I still feel like it's February. So I was like, still ages. Yeah. And then when I realised how close they were when they started showing, I was like, bloody hell, I made an order in quick. And then I went to Kapow and everywhere else, gone. So I suppose they'll get stock because none of the Missing Link stuff seems to disappear. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, you should be all right. But I mean, they're there or thereabouts. I think the thing is, I've been looking at all the pictures of these and just absolutely poring over the detail of them. I think the chrome is incredible. The kind of sticker detailing, because it's all molded now, particularly under the chest on like Sunstreaker and stuff I was looking at, and it just looks
the engine block.
Absolutely amazing. Engine block is
engine block.
So nice. The paint,
it looks
everything.
like a sticker. The paint has got that like speckly, shiny quality. Like the stickers had that kind of graininess. I don't know if it's just because the photo's close, but
it's a single packed Japanese box Sunstreaker, which has never existed apart from Diaclone. It's beautiful. And then people have been buying these toys who don't buy G1, and they've been sort of unboxing them the way you would a Generations toy. And then finally, the other day, Heroic Decepticon got his in hand, and he laid them out with the box, the styro, toy in the styro, trading card, instructions, paperwork, catalogue. Very, very symmetrical, all right angles, doing it the right way. And it was like, yes, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted this unboxed like some vintage, unused Diaclone. That's what I wanted. And it was phenomenal. Everything about them is perfect. They have not dropped a single ball on this line in terms of features and design.
I completely agree.
There's a few little bits and bobs, like the heads on the minis not closing fully. That was a little bit like, that's weird.
That was a little bit disappointing.
His pictures caught me out because it had everything laid out. And then there was like a little sign, the Heroic Decepticon sign. And I was looking going, why does it come with that? And it took me like 30 seconds of going,
it's a watermark.
That's really weird. Is this like some kind of weird exclusive here? I was going to message you and go, Maz, what is this? And then it suddenly clicked around. I was like, oh my God, it's Heroic Decepticon's photos, isn't it? Of course it is.
That's only like half of Twitter always asking why Maz has Transformers 1 written on his watermarks. Why does it say Transformers 1?
I heard you say on that episode, he probably hates that. I love it. Keep it coming.
It's great.
That's fine. I'll happily be associated with that movie, and any further reach it gets to my stuff. God, I love that movie. I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys about it, but God, I love that movie. It's
really
fabulous.
good, isn't it? Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But no, I completely agree about the where Missing Link is at the moment. And so tonight we kind of figured that it would be a fun idea to do a little recce of where we're at and what's coming up. And we've got a couple of things still on the way that we know about. And then there has been plenty of rumors and some maybe not rumors, like some hints, I would say, from
Easter eggs,
Takara Tomy.
man.
Easter eggs, yeah, little clues, teasers of things that they might be working on.
Basically pre-orders. That's what they are. Pre-orders.
Yeah.
Let's just...
All stuff that we'll hopefully own within the next year or two. Let's put it that way. So we're going to get into all of that basically and just see where we get to. And that's kind of the deal. So before we kick off, we should mention, of course, that we are sponsored by tfsource.com and you can go and check them out for all your Transformers needs. And we will do a little bit of a longer segment on them in the middle of the pod. And then, of course, we do have a Patreon as well. We'll come back at sort of towards the end of the episode and do a bit of a longer segment on our Patreon as well, including answering some Patreon questions. And obviously, lucky patrons, they've got Maz to answer the questions tonight. So that's a bit of a delight.
Do they pay extra?
They do, yeah. We've had to charge them extra this month just for that.
Will I see any of the royalties? Please help me fund my multiple missing link habit.
Wait, who said that? Did someone speak there? We didn't hear him. Jason, was that you?
Exactly.
I've been chasing royalties for those mugs for a year now.
You're talking about Jason still?
Yeah, I've been chasing Jason.
Chasing Jason. But yeah, so Missing Link, basically. I mean, what else have we got coming up at the moment? We've got the 2 RCs. When are they up?
They're coming out in September.
I can't wait
We've
for
got,
that.
obviously, the 2 mini-bots, the anime versions of those, the 2-pack, which I'd actually know what the release date is for that, but 2 good toys in a box.
Yeah. You looking forward to those?
I wasn't as much as I thought, because I wanted them to reverse the colors. I wanted a yellow Cliff Jumper and a red Bumblebee. I wanted blue microchange ones. This is the perfect opportunity to pay homage to that. They've got the microchange sticker. Just do something with it.
Yeah.
And then I saw the clear images of them and all the lengths they've gone to, like the clear windows and the face sculpt on Bumblebee, the colors, the way they've colored his forearms yellow so that the car looks more yellow.
Yeah, the yellow is really interesting.
Glorious. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I wonder with that if it's just a sort of lucky happenstance, because of course they've done the forearms yellow to match the cartoon, but it just also happens to kind of fill out the car mode, which is great. So, and the clear windows is really interesting. I was reading about how they'd done it with this double shot molding process. And essentially, as I understand it, we need to get Joshels, the plastic scientist, on to kind of explain it properly, I'm sure. But they basically inject the mold twice. So like one is with the clear plastic and one is, presumably with your sort of standard plastic or whatever. So I think it's basically the bit that you see is transparent or translucent or whatever is sort of the outer bit, but possibly
it's still got like a solid color in a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Still like center sort of it will be solid plastic. So it's really clever. All of that I think is so cool because just for me, the idea that we're going to see the mini bots that we've known since childhood, but with clear windows now, like that's just quite revelatory.
Yeah.
And it's a unique face sculpt on the Bumblebee as well. It's not just the collection reissue, the encore reissue Bumblebee head. It looks like that core class Bumblebee that came out, the one that was basically Bumble Jumper with the Bumblebee head. And it looks so good. It just looks so good.
Except that the face on the new Bumblebee looks a bit like Jonah Hill. Somebody pointed it out to me, and I've not been able to unsee it since. Like, if you look at a picture of
that's what G1 Bumblebee on screen looked like anyway.
Yeah, it does. It does. It actually looks surprisingly like Jonah Hill.
I mean, he had a hexa chin, didn't he?
Yeah. But Jonah Hill, where he's got that kind of like underneck beard thing going on, do you know what I mean, that he often does? It's basically that same shape.
And also, because if it's got the chrome head plate, that sort of reflects it and makes it look deeper.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what it would look like if you could see a double chin from every angle of your head. That's
it's basically that. Yeah.
There's something about whenever they do Bumblebee's face in toys, they never get it right. It always looks slightly weird.
Oh, I disagree. That core class absolutely nails it. It's the best Bumblebee head sculpt I've seen.
Whenever they go for really cartoony, it reminds me of like Crichton's Spearhead, like the grumpy one.
Or Max Headroom.
Yeah. There's just something about the way they do the chin.
It's really like hard cut lines, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah. It's because it's what you would imagine in a 3D space would be kind of like smooth but angled, but kind of like those like curved edges. But they do it because it's much smaller. They do it with quite hard cut lines. It was the same on MP45, and it ends up looking very kind of like chiseled.
The core class one looks great though.
It does.
Yeah. And this is so small that actually I think in hand it'll be fine.
I think they're going to be great.
It's one of those where you're looking at a picture of it on your screen, and actually the picture that you're looking at is approximately 50 times the size of what you're actually going to see when it's in hand. So,
unlike my double chin, 1-to-1 scale in photograph. But also the other thing is, do you remember like they had it displayed, and it's interesting because you imagine it's kind of must be close to final. They don't need to prototype this stuff. They have the mold.
Yeah.
But he had this enormous Tampoed Autobot logo on his chest. It just looked so silly and oversized. And even the one that was stored in the box looked that way. But then you see the stock photos from like Amazon, and it looks way smaller and absolutely perfect. So I really hope those stock images are what we're getting in the final product.
That would be a surprise, exciting one. Because like you, when I saw those pictures, when we were chatting about them in our friend thread, it's just like a weird thing, like how big it was. Like,
absolutely massive.
It's one of those weird things because they've nailed everything so far, every tiny detail. Then you look at that and you're like, they've got this really wrong. It can't come out like this. This feels like just a prototype.
That's the thing about this line, isn't it? It's the fact that you feel as though no corners have been cut, because the Prime in hand didn't feel cheap. It didn't feel like all the reissues that start to show looseness in the joints or tolerances that don't fit anymore. It just felt like they'd absolutely started from scratch and decided they were going to deliver the highest quality product with no corners cut. I mean, just the fact that they aren't doing stickers and they're doing molded details. I know you guys have talked about that a lot, but that's still amazing to me that they're doing that.
That's
and
incredible.
Sunstreaker, top to bottom, is like that. The fact that they switched the mold to have accurate Diaclone style orientation of that molding around the chest for Corden versus Sunstreaker. That is the clearest sign of what the philosophy of this line is. Absolutely.
I think that is really worth explaining for anybody that hasn't looked into that in detail. I mean, we've talked about it online before, and I think I included it in an article before. But it's really worth explaining this because essentially on Corden, the original stickers, what would have been Corden, the vintage Police Sunstreaker before it was Sunstreaker.
And the red one.
The Diaclone toy. And the red one.
Yep.
The stickers were a certain way round, weren't they, on the chest? And then for Sunstreaker, they put the stickers the wrong way round in the instructions and whatever else.
Yeah, they're meant to be car-coloured vents that stick out just behind the canopy in car mode, just where the engine block sits.
But I think it's the fact that they've created two different toolings for
unthinkable
these two
for
toys.
A repaint, right? Unthinkable.
Yeah.
Amazing. Just to recreate sticker detail. It's like...
It is so my bag, that stuff. Like, I wrote an article on this for when I stickered a pre-rub G1 Sunstreaker, and I thought, this is the wrong way up. I'm going to do them this way up because that's what I think the original intention was. And, I would love to think that they were reading my stuff and being like, okay, someone's done this research. But ultimately, like in the interview that we'll look at later in the Generations book, they actually say that they compared it to Diaclone documents. So obviously they have this stuff in hand, in-house, you assume. So if they are going to do that for every release, if they are going to go back to the source material, then I love the idea that they are not going to leave any stone unturned when it comes to fulfilling the original design intention, and then also giving people the option to do it the way that the Hasbro instructions told you to do it for years, and how a billion vintage specimens are going to have the wrong stickering, which has become the right stickering for people because that's what they grew up with.
Well, they're acknowledging not just what the sort of original intent was, but also they're acknowledging the quote-unquote mistakes along the way as well, which is really cool. It's almost like some of those mistakes have become the de facto, part of the brand, if you will. They've become the correct version. And they're incorporating that stuff, which I think is wild.
Soundwave is a brilliant example, right? Because Soundwave for Hasbro, those red trapezoid stickers, they are like speakers.
Oh, the speakers, yeah. But they're supposed to be on the gun.
Right, they're battery detail.
Yeah,
they're supposed to go on the gun and the launcher. And the Japanese version always has them there because that's how their instructions show it.
I'm sure they will incorporate that somehow.
How are they going to do that for Soundwave? Because it's going to have to be molded detail. Can you imagine molded speaker detail on the front of that Soundwave? I think I'd be fine with that. You'll probably do both, right? I'll probably do that and on the back.
I
said I don't want a missing link Soundwave. I said I'd be really bored by that, but just that detail alone makes me think,
I think it would
actually, that would be ace.
I think I'm at the stage of, honestly, they could do anything in Missing Link right now, and I wouldn't think it was boring. Even the toys that we've had reissued countless times over the years, like Soundwave, fine. And I think also the fact that they would probably, I'm guessing, restore the original tape button kind of molding, do you know what I mean, and all of that with the cassette door and everything. I think that would be really worth seeing as well. But, who's to say? But I just think it's so cool that they're incorporating those weird and wonderful parts of the brand's history and kind of bringing it back to life.
Yep.
Similarly, the fact that, on Sunstreaker, obviously they've included the red shoulders, but they've also given you yellow stickers to cover over it if you want a quote-unquote correct version, because the red was a mistake originally.
Absolutely.
It's just a carryover from the red version. Or they've included red stickers as well to put over the red paint.
That's it.
In case you want it to look stickered up. That's
the absurdity of it. But do you know what they call it is my new favorite phrase. They've included it for the absurdity, but they said they wanted to evoke the texture of memory. And that's just perfect. That wonderful phrase, texture of memory, is everything.
Sounds like a Legend of Zelda game. Legend of Zelda texture of memories, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's so nice.
But I mean, we're kind of getting ahead of it. Like, this is all stuff that's in the interview, and that's effectively what's coming next is the basis of this episode, right?
Oh, yeah.
What the Generations book has just gifted us all.
Well, this is it. I mean, firstly, I want to say, before we get to the Generations book, obviously, it's interesting because taking one slight step back, there were these rumors that were swirling, I think came out in April of this year, that there was going to be a Missing Link Grimlock and a Missing Link Ultra Magnus on the way before too long. And that's really interesting because then, of course, the Generations book has landed, which we've done a mini-sode on the Generations books, by the way, in case anybody's not sure of what all of that is, but they're like these yearly, annual hobby books that Takara Tomy put out. We can hear about it all on our Patreon.
High school yearbooks for Transformers.
Yeah, they are a little bit. Yeah, it is basically that. But there's often interviews and things as well. Super interesting, totally worth looking up. But they've produced not only an interview, but a comic as well. And the comic features Ultra Magnus. And it's got Missing Link RC in her prototype colours.
It's not just Ultra Magnus, though. It's Ultra Magnus's white robot. Yeah. Inside the trailer with joints added.
With joints.
Yeah.
Toy
particularly
colours.
the toy as well.
The
it's
toy
not like
colours.
a cartoon.
And it's got the chest with the big head on attached, just driving next to it.
I looked at this picture, this drawing, and it's a drawing. It's it's a piece of artwork.
To pre-order.
Well, it is, because you can see how the joints would work. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, Magnus for me was one of those where I was like, how would that work? How would the trailer work? I couldn't picture it in my mind.
We all spoke about that, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah. I looked at this drawing and I was like, that's exactly how it would work. They've obviously got a design for it. There's no question in my mind that a piece of artwork, what have you, is a precursor to an actual design being unveiled.
And then Sixo mentioned the other thing that's in the comic.
What, are you talking about the mini spies, Maz? Is that what you're talking about?
No, one thing at a time. Calm down.
We'll get to that.
I'm 45 now. Just be careful. I've had sugar today as well, please.
When I saw the mini spies, the first thing I thought of was you. It's like now the two of you had connected.
It's the other thing. It's
the powered buggy.
Powered buggy in blue.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the other thing that makes me convinced that this is happening. So powered buggy, of course, only ever came with the Diaclone releases of the toy. Yep. But here you see that there is a powered buggy illustration or a character, what have you, done in Ultra Magnus colors.
Yeah,
now,
it's blue.
You cannot tell me that someone is not. This is not a statement of intent. That app to me is absolutely. This is what's coming.
This would be the worst and cruelest tease in the history of any Transformers literature, because they've taken it to like someone internally was like, let's just push this joke a bit further, and they realize, oh god, we've taken this joke too far. We just have to run with it now. Like, we just have to keep the face on and commit to the bit because at this point, I mean, it's powered buggy, it's Ultra Magnus, it's mini spies. I mean, I am this Venn diagram. That comic. I live
It's like they made it for you.
Yes,
they really did.
That's
it's
what
like,
it feels like.
I did wonder if you'd commissioned it. Like,
I could have, right? It absolutely could have.
It really is so perfectly you.
And
that's the weird thing.
It's all the toy modes, like even Metroplex popping up in that comic. And it's just the helipad top of him. It's like,
I was going to say,
do him too.
Galvatron.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
Galvatron.
gun mode.
The thing is, of everything else, that was the thing that shocked me the most, because I think the rumors of Ultra Magnus were already existed. The thought of a Galvatron, like the reality, hadn't really properly entered my head until I saw it then. I went, oh my God, even if they're not doing it, they're thinking of it to put it in the book.
Yeah, for sure.
But
if you look at the Galvatron drawings, and there's only a couple, he's only in there briefly. Not so much the close-up of his face, but when you see him and he's like transforming and jumping onto the side of a cliff or whatever, you can see in there, if you zoom in, like joints in the legs and things as well. I'm pretty convinced.
Have you seen he's holding a floppy disk?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But it's so I hate this word, but so toyetic, and it's a small drawing, but you can see how they've kind of obviously thought about the way that this is going to work is the thing. And I think it's the same for the powered buggy. I think it's the same for the mini spies. It just all looks like, oh, these are toys that didn't used to have articulation, and these drawings indicate that we've thought about how they would have that.
Yeah. Unless they're just trying to recreate a missing link comic, and the aesthetic is to be uniform across all of the things they feature. But I mean, the one thing we haven't mentioned is that Prototype RC is also in there and looks swish as all hell, right?
Yeah. Very much
so. Fantastic.
I think you both missed out on the key missing link toy there. No one's mentioning it at all. They mentioned in the article there. They mentioned a little interview when they said about.
He's in there too. Yes.
No. They mentioned
Hubcap's in there.
Yeah. But in the interview, they specifically say stuff like they're going to do surprising stuff, other stuff that's never a toy. And there is one picture of an Autobot shuttle in there. What if they did that?
Well,
it's different colors as well, right? It's white.
Yeah, it's inverted, like the Marvel comic, isn't it?
So the colors are actually. This is really interesting. The colors are from one of the really, Marvel. And you'll have seen it. One of the really early teasers for Transformers the movie. You know, the one where Magnus is in his Delta Magnus colors and all of that, his Diaclone colors.
I think you're going to have to stop. I have to sit down. This is too much.
Yeah.
See, there's your repaint. They've already seen the repaint.
Yeah. I just can't even. This is amazing.
It's incredible, isn't
this could be the future. I mean, they can't take this away from us, right? I don't care if I'm 60 when
they're
this
like
lands.
Sith Lords. Always two. There's always two missing links, like bloody Sith Lords. So this is
there are always two. There are. Yeah. But so that's where it comes from. If you watch that early teaser, which I think Paul put
such
out
a good reference. Well done for spotting that. Well done.
Yeah. No, someone else spotted it online, and I saw a mention of it, and I was like, "Holy hell, that is incredible!" But yeah, so I mean, that's the level of detail that they're going to here, and you can't tell me that they're not thinking about this stuff. Like they wouldn't just be throwing that in as like a random.
Yeah.
It means nothing reference. It's definitely an Easter egg for something.
Yep.
You're right, Liam. What if that became a toy?
Yeah, that was kind of, not to jump too far ahead to the interview, but that's kind of like the most exciting thing was me when this idea that there could be other stuff, you know.
This is a good thing to talk about, because if you follow Diaclone news as well, they've just reached the 10-year anniversary of the new Diaclone line, and they've announced DA116, which seems to be a completely non-transforming head ornament for Great Robot Base.
Oh, yeah,
it's the big head and the shoulders. It's like a bust. It's got a 3D Diaclone logo, and it's got molded Dianaut pilots with armaments. Like, they've never had weapons in Diaclone before. And that's just how they're selling it. It doesn't seem to be a transforming item, but it's got an official designation in the line, but it's an anniversary item. If they're going to do that for Diaclone, I see no reason why they can't do something like the Autobot shuttle for Missing Link, which is just a shuttle that separates, has a few opening doors, but it doesn't transform into a robot. It's just a Transformers item that has been missing for 40 years. Here you are. Merry Christmas. Happy birthday. You can now die in peace.
But they do kind of hint to this sort of stuff in the interview as well. I mean,
are we tackling the interview now?
Well, we may as well.
Because question by question, it's just brilliant.
There's a lot. There's a lot in there.
They've nailed it, man. Like, it's so good. Every part of it. It's the excitement it brings back. It's like the early days of Masterpiece where you didn't know what could come next. You just kind of like dreamed it could be anything.
Texture of memory.
Yeah.
I'll get my ocarina out in a minute.
I think the fact that it starts with them talking about the fact that RC took 4 years to develop.
That's right. That's mad. Okay, what was going on 4 years ago? What are we? 2025. So 2021, middle of COVID.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What was going on in Transformers in 2021? I can't even recall. Was it still MPG? Was that even out yet?
Earthrise, was just around then, the start of 2020. So you'd have been that Earthrise Kingdom era of stuff.
We didn't even have Pink Hot Rod yet, did we? In 2021?
No, but I think there was a new podcast on its way.
Yeah.
So
that shook things up a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Started to make waves.
Changed the game.
4 years ago. So Convoy was probably, 5 years ago?
What, Missing Link Convoy?
Yeah, like the idea for that might have been seeded pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Well, the first Missing Link Convoy idea was back in, 2002 era, wasn't
okay.
it? That's
as a concept to do that.
As a Missing Link, yeah.
But as a viable, we're beginning development now.
Yeah.
R&D
you're right.
to get this out.
Yeah, probably around then.
I always feel like there's a guy must have had a notebook, and then like every few months he'd come back to it and like just sketch a little bit more of a leg and go,
yeah.
That almost works for like 20 years. And eventually it was like, I freaking got it, guys. I've nailed it.
What I think is also funny is the fact that they weren't initially, or this is my interpretation anyway, they're seemingly not initially basing RC off the prototype model, that they were kind of working on something, and then at some point they were like, oh, maybe we could base it on that prototype that we had. And that they were looking at photos of it and whatever else. Now, I think it also sort of confirms for me that they don't still have the physical model of that early prototype. Because obviously when they showed it off, Missing Link RC, they brought out the photo that we've seen of it.
Yeah.
And here they sort of talk about, they referenced existing photos and things like this, but at no point were they looking at that old prototype itself. So I think that's gone, is basically the sort of
it was recycled into the styrofoam tray for another G1 toy.
Yeah, that'll be something.
Do you have that, Maz?
No, I think it was Wheelie. But yeah, I mean, just there's sentences. Obviously, it's a translation, but the phrases used, even in that first question, stuff like, so starting from that point felt most aligned with the spirit of Missing Link. It was almost like archaeology, reconstructing the design philosophy that must have existed. That is the whole reason why when I do stickers on vintage toys, I go looking at all these other sources. It's exactly that feeling of trying to recreate what was meant to be, or what the greatest desire of the designer was at the time, how it was meant to look without constraint. I mean, I was cutting up Rampage stickers to look like the prototype last night. Like I was taking a pair of scissors to establish stickers on a sticker sheet to put them in a place that I wanted them to look like a proto. And they are basically doing an entire toy line with this philosophy. Yeah. It's wonderful. I could never have imagined it that they would actually do this.
Well, and then the fact that they talk about the fact that they developed RC stickers kind of based on the method of how they used to do it back in the day. So, and they talked about the fact that at the time of toy development back in 1986 or whatever, they apparently had a little candy box stuffed with leftover sticker scraps from previous toys. And that when they had a prototype ready, they would just pick out random stickers to kind of make it presentable.
I would like to see the candy box.
Yeah, exactly. It's incredible, isn't it? But it sort of explains why so many of those old prototypes are just like covered in random stickers and things like this.
Yeah,
then,
Which also then makes a mockery of idiots like me who spend hours poring over old pictures and catalogs to try and figure out what did they mean? No, nothing.
They were literally
whatever was there at
stickers.
the time.
You had to take your string board down and all that stuff.
Right.
It's like the equivalent of when I discovered that a lot of films, like blockbuster films, are made using music from other films. Because they put the music in. So, like, I know that some of the MCU films, for example, they used the Steve Jablonsky Transformers score. Yeah. They layered it in to sort of say, oh, something like this. And then that's why, actually, when you listen to it, it sounds so much like Steve Jablonsky.
I mean, that's how we do animatics for cinematic trailers when we're basically creating something. We even use Shutterstock footage and say, look, here's basically the feeling we're going for.
Yeah, the vibe.
And then so, like when you commissions an artist to actually create the music, it ends up sounding like the audio jungle track that you just basically grab for free to put on there because actually that felt great. Why don't we just go with that vibe? I can totally believe that.
Yeah, but it's the same with the stickers in many ways. So, but I just think it's so cool that then they apparently for RC sort of tried to replicate that process almost of like just looking at what stickers existed sort of around 1986 to cut, and they say to keep it era appropriate, and I think that is so cool.
Yeah,
to me this is the most significant toy in the line so far, in a weird way, because it's the sort of proper emphasis of a missing link, if that makes sense. Like it's something that we've never had.
But the thing is, they reference this later, and they describe RC as a little bit of a surprise. So I don't think it's the central philosophy or the central guiding principle of what they're going to release. I think it's one of those special moments in the line, which had already had like an established vision. So they're talking about another such surprise that's going to make people go, they're releasing that? And that's what I can't wait to see, because that has the potential to be something super special or something never made before.
Yeah.
I can't tell from the question whether they mean that that's the Decepticon that's coming or whether it's separate to the Decepticon that's coming. I guess.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Unicron.
Yeah. Well, it could be Unicron. Equally, someone, because I was linking it with the Decepticon thing, because it does say, it's about time for some Decepticons, full stop. We've got a surprise in the works that will make our fans say they're releasing that. Bearing in mind, this has all been translated by someone. But yeah, so it could be that they were referring to Decepticons, in which case, I even wondered if it just meant Megatron, honestly, and if it was just like they were going to release a Wolfer. Or the
Shockwave
shuttle, or Shockwave. Yeah,
Shockwave's not a Takara toy.
Yep.
That could be exactly what they mean. Oh, but shrunk down to fit in size with Megatron. Would you like that if they shrunk Shockwave down in size to be the same size as Megatron and Soundwave?
That'd be shocking.
Yeah, make waves.
Yeah. I hate myself for being about to make the same joke.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know what's worse, that I was going to do it or that you got there first. I don't know.
Yep. But yeah, I do think that it could feasibly be, it could be Megatron. It could be any of these things. This is the thing. There's no way to know, is there? But it's exciting to think that whatever it is going to be something that we're all going to be like, what? Because we have had a lot of that already, to be fair.
Yeah.
Are you a little bit worried that you might be slightly disappointed if it's, I don't know, like, because if you don't actually know what it is?
I think I had that a little bit when I saw that the second release was Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. I think that was my moment of, are we there already? Like, you went from Prime to Bumblebee. Like, have we not had enough Bumblebee? Really? But it's interesting that the interview acknowledges the fact that they went with Bumblebee because it's such a popular modern character as well. So they're not just doing this for 50-year-old middle-aged blokes like us. It's appealing to current collectors and people who are entering the franchise now. There are people who are buying Missing Link Sunstreaker who have never bought vintage toys. So it's doing its job, right? Yeah. So it could be that if that's a disappointment to me, it actually worked out pretty fantastic because they caked it in all the references, didn't they? They had the microchange sticker. They had the box art sticker. And then I even bought another set so that I could take a vintage Bumblebee and turn it into the one that is on the original vintage card with a microchange sticker and a weird size logo. So I've had so much fun with that release. If that's the way the disappointment comes across, then I'm all for it. Whatever.
I was going to say, you're disappointed, but you've bought 3 sets of it?
Yep.
Or?
3.
I mean, if that's so disappointed, then I can't wait to see what enthusiastic looks like.
We live in this magical period right now where you can get one for like 27 to 32 pounds and people are selling them on social media secondhand, and it's like, it's not selling straight away, and they're still in stock. We're going to look back on this in 5 to 10, 15 years, and it's going to be like the e-hobby era of like, why did I not buy that thing? Do you remember when it was £20? I just feel like we're in the middle of that right now. And you look at the quality of the product and it's just, there's no compromises, and you think, this is a wonderful period. This is the best time to be collecting Transformers, especially G1.
I did consider getting another Bumblebee, I must admit, because mine's got a slightly loose arm, which is annoying me. So, and I was going to try and fix it, but then at the same time, for the price of it, you just sort of think,
just get another one. Hopefully it's great. And then with the one that you've got with the loose arm, just go nuts with the stickers and do something fun with it. It honestly looks so great with that oversized sticker applied. And even the microchange sticker applied, it just looks brilliant. And it's different as well. It's another variant. It's so fun.
Are they good quality stickers? Because I've not put any of them on it.
Yeah, no, they're really nice. I haven't had any peeling on any of the ones that I've applied. It's a pretty flat surface, but the microchange bar goes pretty high up on Bumblebee's roof. And there's some corners that you think, oh, that's going to peel, but nothing's peeled so far. It's so funny, the history of Transformers sticker quality. Like, some of the vintage stuff I've done recently has been poor. Some of the reissue stuff has been terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Like commemorative series Skids and Astro Train. God awful. But then the Predaking reissue, the Takara one, those are some of the best stickers I've ever applied. Every single one was cut precisely to size. It was a total pleasure. I did all 5 Predacons in one go. It was an absolute blast.
Takara really went through a little stage of like their reissues and the stickers just being brilliant. I mean, it was the same with some of the Jinrai stickers and things like this as well. Just so good. Really, really good quality and everything. So, but it's good to hear that Missing Link is the same as that. So
far, I mean, I haven't applied any of Prime stickers or Sentinel Primes. I just didn't think they needed it at all.
No.
But I'll be doing one version of Sunstreaker with the yellow shoulders. I did a digibash of it on my pre-rub one when I stickered that up, and I thought, yeah, would buy. So,
well, that's really interesting because that's like the toy that we never had, was it?
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
in a weird way, like a fully yellow Sunstreaker. Like even I'm kind of weirdly into that one just because it's so strange, and just seeing it in car mode will just be so weird. I've seen digibashes of it before, and probably even a custom or two. But the idea that there is now an official Sunstreaker toy with yellow stickers that you can get.
Just the fact that they have headlights already differentiates it completely from a vintage Sunstreaker, because a perfectly mint G1 Sunstreaker doesn't have headlight stickers. That's a Diaclone thing. So seeing that on this Missing Link Sunstreaker already makes it a new toy to me. It already feels a little bit different already.
Definitely.
And then the anime version is going to be coming down the pipe at some point with the black shoulders and the
feed me directly into my mouth.
Yeah. That is going to be so nice.
I think they'll change the head.
They should if it's anime, right?
Yeah, they will. 100% they will. I absolutely think they will. I know they didn't on Convoy, although to be fair, they didn't on Cliff Jumper either. I had one that
it's just the colours, right?
Yeah, I had wondered if they had initially, and the interview confirms that that's the case. I think it's in the interview anyway. There's a bit of text that talks about just a remolded face for Bumble.
Yep.
But I had thought they had initially on Cliff Jumper, because when you looked at the first images that kind of came out of it, it really looks so different. But it's incredible to think that that's just what a little bit of paint, in the eyes and things can do to make it look so unique. Yep. And obviously we've seen a lot of that on like some of the retro stuff and things as well. So it totally makes sense. But I think it looks phenomenal, honestly, the cartoon Cliff Jumper.
They look so good. I cannot wait. I'm really into the Bumblebee as well. I have no idea when that's actually shipping. Do you know? Have you heard anything about release date?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, super. On the topic of the mini-bots, hubcap.
Don't. They're definitely doing hubcap. I mean, there's no way that they're not.
Missing Link, that's my second ever Transformer. I can't believe it. This is going to be brilliant. I do you think it's going to come on a card with a Fennec sticker? Or is that perhaps just a little bit too niche?
Maybe too niche, but I think they're definitely doing it, though. I mean, the fact that they mention it in the interview.
G2 one would have to be done as well, because there's no cartoon one. So they do a G2 one.
Well, couldn't they just do Bumble Jumper alongside it? Because that's a real Missing Link. That's really something that hasn't had its moment in the sun. Did not get a Transformers release in Japan. I'd be astonished if they didn't do it.
Yeah, I really do think that hubcap will happen, because the fact that they've mentioned it in the interview.
He's in the comic.
And then he's in the comic. And in a way, I think the combination of those two things makes me think that the other stuff in the comic is also happening to some extent as well. I mean, the fact that we've had this, if you add it all up, we've had this rumor about Magnus. We then see Magnus in the comic. You then see the powered buggy, which is so clearly like that wouldn't come out of nowhere, right?
That's ridiculous.
They've then mentioned hubcap in the interview, and hubcap is in the comic. Like, it all just syncs up so nicely.
With a grey face, though. Not with a red face.
That's true. Do you know, I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right.
It's got to come with a red face. Come on.
Yeah.
Guys.
Or sort of weird orange face.
Yeah.
That's true, actually. And he's got like a weird Zarin mouth, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. And he's got a rub sign.
Toy accurate.
I love how everything in that comic is toy accurate.
It's like to a fault.
Just even the molding on the inside of the prototype RC's legs, it's hinting at the mechanics of the toy.
But again, that's why I think when you look at the Magnus, you can see the joints and stuff. And like that was really what got me, was that picture of him with his kind of hat off and stuff. And you could just see even the way the little feet on the white Prime are folded down. You can see where the joints are kind of on the armor piece and kind of how the legs would clip together. It's the hinge in the foot on the armor. And you can kind of see it there, like how that would work.
It's too detailed for it to be anything else. Like, they could have just drawn red legs. There's no reason for them to say anything other than it's a bit toy-like, but the toy just lives inside of it. There's too much.
It's where the thigh meets the crotch as well. That
really
Magnus has always had those like cylindrical bits on the side. That's actually looking like it's the joint now, and it separates from the rest of the trailer you can see the inner white part of the legs of the. God, what do I sound like right now? Seriously.
But you can see as well. You can see Convoy's foot like pivoted down. Behind the thigh. it's too detailed to be anything else, I think.
Exactly. Stuff like the way that the little white flaps on his shins, the
Yeah.
way they move with the ankle tilt,
Yeah.
but the fact that they stick with the orientation of the leg, if
Yeah.
that makes sense, whilst the
Yes,
ankle
absolutely.
pivots down. It's so oddly specific that I can't help but think that is just it. That's Missing Link Ultra Magnus. That's what we're going to see before too long.
I do like, without the helmet on, just in this image, is strong Dr. Robotnik vibes, you know, in his little, like, one of his little vehicles.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
So it looks like he's piloting like a little vehicle, well, a very big vehicle of a giant man.
It really does. But yeah, I think it's incredible to think that the powered buggy might happen with this as well. I mean, that is a weird one for me, I've got to tell you, because I've been looking for and after a vintage powered buggy for years. I mean, ever since, or even probably before, but certainly when you got yours, Maz, and I remember you got it shipped to my house.
How much of a bargain does that look like now?
Oh, incredible. I remember you got it shipped to my house because you were like, oh, can you forward it on to me? And so I had it in hand for like all of, 2 days or something.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
It's just incredible. It was the first time I'd ever actually held, a complete one and everything. Absolutely loved it. I think it's such a cool little thing. And so I've wanted one for like forever. But now the idea that it might happen in Missing Link sort of makes me think, so do I just give up looking for the vintage one then? Do you know what I mean? Or it's a weird feeling because it's sort of like something that you've always had as a little mini grail in your mind, and then the new version comes out, or potentially, and it's sort of like, is that beating it to the punch, or what's happening here? It sort of makes you reevaluate.
Well, the best person to ask is Liam. Liam's been looking for a vintage Sunstreaker for 150 years, and he's obviously blind to all the auctions that we've sent that have been fantastic prices. Happens to get drunk at the precise time the auction is ending.
Yeah.
But now Missing Link is coming. Do you still feel the need to go and get a vintage Sunstreaker?
I do, but not to the same degree as where I wanted one before.
Yeah.
It kind of, the last one you sent me, I was clicking by, like I was that close, and then I thought about it. I was like, but the Missing Link one is some point this year, and I'll get that. And it just suddenly then put it further down the list. Like, it's something I'd still like to get, but doesn't feel quite as important.
Yeah, I can understand that. That's kind of like, I think that's where I'm at with Powered Buggy, is if like I saw one tomorrow, I would have to really think hard. Is this actually something I need? I probably still would. But
well, it would cost you £150 or something like that. It would arrive. It's over 40 years old. It already has some pretty tight tolerances on it anyway, or it's crazy loose. Like the one I bought that you handled, it rarely stands. Like I really have to work to make it stand. And then it might break. And you'd be like, why did I bother with that?
That's the thing, and I think that's where we're going to get to, and it's not the topic for tonight, but that's where we're going to get to with a lot of this stuff, where it's actually like the vintage stuff is getting older and older and older, and
same.
Well, yeah, all of us are, but it's going to get to the stage where it's just impractical or too exorbitantly expensive or whatever it is, that it's just not worth it anymore. And actually, if they're going to do new versions of a lot of this stuff, then why not?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, topic for another time. I'd love to be on that topic because, packing away an entire collection, it doesn't feel like it did even 2 years prior.
No.
And I'm really not looking forward to unpacking it because I think there's going to be some heartache. I was in storage looking for a toy last weekend. I got out my sealed G1 Scourge. The whole thing's yellowed. I mean, this was a pristine, bone white, beautiful Scourge when I put it in storage in November 2023.
That's such a
Looked
shame.
at it now, I was like, this is totally gone. It's like, I don't know how to enjoy this anymore. Maybe it's just the bubble that's yellowed, but the only way I have of knowing that is unsealing the toy, and I just don't know if that's the route I want to go. And to have an entire collection go down that road, I just don't know. I think I will happily replace any vintage specimen I have with a Missing Link now. I think that's just fine.
Yeah.
That is the thing, isn't it? Because it's like, it's nice to have the vintage one. It's nice to have the original and kind of have the prestige, and this is the one, right? Like, this is what was around at the time. But then by the same token, I know Missing Link is different because it's not the same mold, it's not the same tooling, it has joints and it has differences and doesn't have the original stickers and bloody blah. So it is different, but by the same token, with the older stuff, even if you get it in nice condition, there's no guarantee it's going to stay that way. So it's like, you could get something now, like you could get a vintage Ultra Magnus and it could be yellowed within a year, even if it's not currently, So actually the idea of like, here's a Missing Link Magnus and it's not exactly the same toy, but it's got some enhancements and things. it's a compelling argument.
Yeah, I finally got a Metroplex again for the first time in over a decade and a half, about a year and a half ago. I finally took photos of it 2 weeks ago. I'll tell you what, transforming that thing was terrifying. I was absolutely certain the waist was going to go. And it was the Chrome Thigh first release. I was like, this is the one that always snaps at the waist. Yeah. It was like, it's going to go, isn't it? It's going to go. It's going to go. Oh, it survived. Never doing that again. Yeah, but that's not what I want from my toys anymore. It's, okay, once the photo's done, what? It's just a tick box exercise that I own this now. I've taken, I'm pretty mocked regularly by you lot for buying 3 of each missing link.
Not just for that. Many other reasons.
One thing at a time. We've only got a couple of hours, man.
Yeah. I mean,
but the third version, the third specimen I get is opened, and I just get to play with it, and I don't care what happens to it because I've got a sealed one and I've got an unused one for photos. But
that's pretty good.
The one I get to play with, like I have a Bumblebee and Cliffjumper on my desk at work, and I have an Anime Prime, and I just play with them all the time. That's what I want from my hobby now.
That's so cool.
And to think that I got a Sunstreaker mere days away that I can just play with to my heart's content, and I don't care what happens to it. I love that. That's what I wanted from these toys. Yeah. Even when I was collecting in 2015, I wanted to play with these things, but I could do that now.
So I don't think I'll be getting rid of my vintage Sunstreaker by the same token. Like, I still like having it and all of that, but it is annoying when you pick it up and like a sticker falls off or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you think, God, it's just such a inevitability with these things, trying to keep them pristine, trying to keep them looking nice, particularly with like vintage G1 now. Every time you handle them, it kind of is that feeling of, is something going to go wrong? You know, like with your Metroplex.
1 foot in the grave. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Is this the time that I drop it and it just disintegrates, or whatever?
Exactly.
So
it's the creak. A lot of the toys now, like my vintage G1 Optimus Prime, if I go to move his arm, it's like, I don't know whether it's worth the risk. I can feel it's not quite stuck and it will move, but there's a very loud crack and a creak on so many toys like Metroplex. He just squeaks every joint you move, and you're like, oh, it's always been like that, but it's just getting worse.
No, I totally agree.
And the thing is, I went for pre-rub for a lot of these toys when I had the opportunity to buy nice ones. My Sunstreaker is a pre-rub, and I stickered it up meticulously. 3 rounds of sticker fixer it took to get those black side skirt stickers to stay on.
Yeah,
and it's immaculate. I think it almost looks photoshopped how nice that Sunstreaker is, and it's perfect in every way. But if I want to bend the arm at the elbow, the black plastic halves of his forearm split a bit every time because the tolerances are out, and it's not the best version of that toy, and it's 40 years old now, 41 years old actually. And you just think, how many more transformations has this thing got in it? Can I ever put it back in car mode, or will it live forever in this photogenic robot mode? But then what can I do with it? So I have a loose Sunstreaker at work, which is a childhood toy of someone I bought. It's used. It has paint chips and chromeware, but I have so much fun with it just because I can transform it as much as I like. Those are the G1 cars I took to work so that I could just transform them, and reissues if I could get them. And I just find that that's a much better use of my money now. It's so much more enjoyable than these aging relics that, they make for great articles and great photographs and discoveries. But what happens when they start crumbling? What happens when they start yellowing? What do you do with them then? You're stuck with a collection of things that aren't desirable to anybody, really.
Fair enough.
They're a good ideal, aren't they? They're like a kind of, they're almost are just like an idea as much as an ideal now, because you've got this perfect toy, but you don't want to touch it because something might go wrong and it becomes less perfect. Whereas the other ones you're not so bothered about, and it's kind of becoming like, I don't know, like before that was fine. Now as I'm starting to look at stuff, I'm like, I'm so scared something's going to break or get damaged, and it's like,
isn't that the magic of missing link?
Yeah,
it's not in any way a lesser quality. Like that Optimus Prime, when I handled it, blew my mind totally.
Yeah,
it's like it's every bit as good as the vintage in terms of feel, and it's better in many ways.
Yeah, and the primary thought isn't "I've got it." It's oh, this is awesome. I can mess with it, rather than with a lot of vintage stuff.
Experience,
I've got it, and it's still fine, and it's over there, but I'm not going to touch it. And it's like, just don't enjoy it.
What I will say, on Optimus or Convoy specifically, is that of course they have done a number of reissues of that, with the recent retro one or what have you. And I do think that retro mold is really, really good. I mean, that actually is the best feeling vintage Optimus Prime that I've seen in years. Yeah,
it's really nice,
really good.
But really, it doesn't feel like vintage Optimus Prime.
No, it's a little bit more fluid and whatever else. But then neither does the missing link, weirdly. Like, to me, transforming the missing link is a very different experience to transforming vintage Optimus Prime. You know,
it's a different transformation, Sixo. Had you not noticed?
Well, exactly. This is it. Yeah. But it's weird because it feels like it should be the same, you know. And I mean, I had a bit of that with like the new HasLab RID Fire Convoy,
right.
Optimus Prime that's just come out, where I was transforming it and I was like, oh, this bit's supposed to go that way, but now it goes this way, you know, and things like this where they're so similar. That had an air of missing link to it, almost, to me, you know, of like, obviously there are many more differences in the design and it's not quite one-to-one with the original, but it's done by the same person and you can really feel that. And it was so strange because it just, again, just a very different experience handling it. And like with the missing link Optimus,
that moment where the arms go the way that you're not expecting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just total mind-blowing moment.
It means to me that, like, as much as I totally agree, and I think that, you know, if I didn't have a vintage Optimus, I don't know that I would look for one necessarily as a priority owning the missing link, but at the same time, I'm really happy that I do, and I think that it's nice to have both in that case, you know?
It'll just suck when it disintegrates, that's all.
Yeah, that's true. It is true, although I've got, like, many other reissues of the thing and whatever else, so...
Yeah, it's funny, because now reissues feel in the real sweet spot. They're old and vintage, they're of another time, but they're still in great nick, and they still work really well. Like that Predaking is a perfect example of it.
It's a great example.
It feels so lush.
Yeah, it's a really, really good example.
Except for the backpack.
Yeah, the wobbly backpack, yes, exactly. Just like vintage, though. Spot on to vintage.
Exactly.
It's the full vintage experience.
Yeah.
But it is true because, you know, a lot of the reissues, like I've got numerous toys that I don't have original vintage versions of. I've got reissues, and I've always been happy with that. So in some senses, you know, they're not all one-to-one identical versus the originals either in many cases. So in some senses, Missing Link should be fine, you know, to kind of fill in, but it's a strange one, isn't it?
Yeah, but with the reissues, if they weren't the same as the originals, the vintage, it was sometimes because of oversight or it just cost saving or something that had changed just for the sake of change. Whereas with Missing Link, you get the feeling that if something is different, there's a reason behind it, and there's a good reason behind it, and it makes sense, and it's an acceptable change that you're happy with. And even if it's a change you didn't like, chances are they've put a sticker in there. There's a sticker for that. It's like they've covered it off in some way.
It's for the benefit of the toy, though, isn't it? I think that's the idea. It's like everything they've done is to make a better version of that toy, and it's in purpose of that. Whereas a lot of the retools and sort of changes like that were always to make it cheaper to make, you know, produce that sort of thing. It's a very different kind of
texture of memory.
Speaking of which, though, Maz, I mean, I know we said it briefly, but mini spies, come on, are you going to be all over that if they start doing Missing Link mini spies, right?
That's ridiculous. I love the fact that they featured them in there and they've shown them very true to what they're supposed to be. I mean, I know some people said it's just like an homage to the TV advert for the mini spies, but they just go a little bit further here. Like there's various molds featured. The rub sign kind of joke is in there.
Yeah,
they look amazing. They're a central part of the comic. I would love it if they just released mini spies as part of a Missing Link release. It doesn't even have to be a Missing Link mini spy. I actually kind of think that would be silly. But I wonder if that would end up like the modern Micromasters compared to vintage Micromasters. Like it didn't need that many joints.
I do wonder, and actually it's fair to say that even if they just did like a new tooling of the old design, if that makes sense, or if they still have the old tooling or whatever, and they just reissued them, that would be great to see as well. Because, you know, I have the originals, but they're hard to find in decent nick, those things.
So difficult.
Yeah.
And they were never released in Japan as Transformers.
Right.
So that would be super fun to have them just in a styro slot with a mini bot. Like, really, that'd just be so good.
Little box.
At their own little box, a box set of the...
Yeah, just a little box set. It'd be great. Like they did with the spy changes and all of that kind of stuff. It would be really fun to see. Unless they go the blind bag route and they start doing all that malarkey, then that might be less fun.
Oh, a coffin.
Yeah.
Like the spy changes did in Hasbro.
Of course, the other one that's in the comic, anyway, is Huffer, isn't it? Which is a bit of a weird one as well. Just such a random appearance. But do we think that's a sign of a Missing Link Huffer on the way as well?
Oh, as long as we get the Masterpiece first, which was teased a decade ago or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah. With the MP10.
With MP10, you mean?
Yeah.
That one?
But with Missing Link, perhaps that could be the Missing Link Huffer they could do at some point, because that's what Missing Link seems to be.
I don't know. I guess it's just a reminder not for us not to get too carried away with what they tease. But like some of it, like Powered Buggy and Ultra Magnus, are just too on the nose to not.
They
be,
really are, yeah.
to not
They
be
really
on
are.
in the plans. But Huffer, I think, wait and see.
Yeah, Huffer's a weird one because he's just sort of there in 3 panels or something, kind of in the background, pretty much. Apart from where they like discover the mini spy is a Decepticon, and then he just sort of disappears. So I don't know. That to me. In Huff, yeah, a real Huff. That to me didn't have the same level of indication of like, oh, maybe we're going to make this.
Also,
you
know? The Decepticon mini spy, how cool is it that it's extended their arms and shooting lasers in car mode?
Yeah,
how good is
cool.
that?
That's very, very cool. Definitely.
I like the one that sat down and it's still got the wheel, on the shins, the blue one. He's still got the wheel on his shins.
Oh, yeah. In the middle, you mean? Like in the...
right. Yeah. It's the spare tyre of the Jeep.
Yeah, it's the spare tyre. Yeah.
It's the Jeep one.
That's hilarious.
God, I own so many of these stupid things.
Well, I was going to say, if they do mini spies, and what if they do like different spoke versions and all of that kind of stuff? And what is it, the wheel hubs and,
Wheel hubs, tyres having writing on or not having writing on.
Yeah. What if they go the full Maz? They
I counted 96 variants for vintage.
Can you imagine if they did all of those as missing links?
It would be the spirit and texture of memory.
Your memory of buying 96 mini spies.
Exactly.
Gosh, it does sound like a Zelda thing, and the line's called Missing Link. It's right there.
It's
true. There you go.
There is something that's quite exciting that's included with these toys, and mentioned in the interview, is a catalogue. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen it. Haven't seen any good images of it. Maybe that could be the one thing that the internet doesn't spoil for when we get this out.
I've seen
Imagine if they revealed stuff in that. Like they were just keeping that back. There's something exciting in there.
How is it, Sixo? Is it everything you hoped it would be?
It's pretty great, yeah, honestly. Like it's
really great.
I mean, it's essentially what you might imagine it is. Do you know what I mean? It's the current toys. There's nothing new teased in there, I don't think, or anything like that.
Are they shown in both modes?
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a picture of it where I saw it.
Are they on a rocky outcropping?
No, there's nothing like that. No,
that reflective floor with the weird sort of
there's nothing quite to that level, but it's
the mountain range.
Yes,
it's so they've got the kind of classic artwork in there, kind of like some of your really early artwork, like very vintage pictures of Megatron and that kind of stuff, which is cool. And then I think it says Transformers Volume 2 or Missing Link, and then it's got Volume 2 underneath. So I don't know what that means.
Oh, that I'm not going to look into. I'm going to save that for when I've got Sunstreaker in hand. That can be a nice wow moment, I think.
Definitely. It's got all the usual, promotional pictures. I nearly said promo pictures there, but I know that always gets me in trouble. But all the usual promotional pictures.
Is the A aesthetic spot on?
Yeah, the aesthetic is really good, honestly.
I've missed you.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
No, I have. They've got a picture of the box set with Sunstreaker, the vintage one. So, which is really interesting because
the VSZ.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they've got a picture of Sunstreaker there. So the box with skids and everything. There's the classic back of the box 1984 artwork with like Optimus with the weird hands and Starscream doing the shooty thing. And all of that. So yeah, it's just kind of looks as you would imagine, but there's no, as far as I can see anyway, there's no like special teas or anything in there. There's nothing that says, oh, here's the next toy or anything like that. So I don't know.
And we haven't really mentioned the Diaclone pilot that comes with Sunstreaker and Corden.
Wow,
cool. Surely Magnus will get that too. It'll be Daniel, won't it? Or something like
maybe,
that.
It could be like a little staple of the line now, I think, moving forwards. It really feels like maybe they'll just throw that in. With the ones that it's appropriate for anyway. Although that said, it doesn't seem to be coming with RC, so I don't know.
No, that's true. But it makes sense because RC is not a Diaclone figure.
That's true.
I think I just realised if I get 3 Sunstreakers, I'll have 3 spikes. And I could just recreate that oil rig scene from the pilot with loads of these construction dudes.
Little wellies, little welly dudes.
Absolutely.
One can be spark plug.
Yes, absolutely right, yeah.
Yeah, I just think all of that is so cool. The feet are magnetic, apparently. That's been confirmed now as well. Brilliant. So,
how do you feel about the box art? Because obviously Sunstreaker's got brand new box art, Corden's got brand new box art. How do you guys like that?
That's lovely. It was jarring seeing it at first because I'm so used to, whenever I look at the box for Sunstreaker, that art is just it's so iconic and you know it inside out. So it was also really nice to see it. I love the fact that under the windscreen there was you could see some of the detail.
Yeah, car robo, it says.
Rather than just being a black windscreen, I was like, that's a really neat touch.
So that's a really interesting thing for Sunstreaker, actually. I must admit, I thought all of the sticker detail of the original was going to be recreated in molded, painted detail, but they don't have the yellow lights and the white light on the bottom layer of the bumper, because those are really awful stickers to apply on the vintage toy. Really unpleasant. But they've got them as sticker detail only on the sticker sheet with missing link. I'm really surprised they left that totally black and blank on that toy. And also
that is a strange choice.
The car robo sticker. Are you really going to put that over the tampoed, sparkly section that exists there blank right now? I just can't see that happening.
No, I'm certainly not.
There's no contest sticker either, is there?
No, definitely not for the spoiler.
So
I don't think they could put that on. I'm sure there was a discussion around that.
Yeah, because we've seen a lot with the reissues and stuff where they suddenly have like a license, don't they? And stuff. Certain old toys are being reissued now licensed. So I just wondered if there
would have been great
kind of thing with their friendship with Lamborghini.
I wonder if it's because that car doesn't exist.
There was an acknowledgement of it. There was I'm sure someone mentioned it or referenced it and said this was the one concession that we had to make, kind of thing. And it's fair enough. I mean, it's there or thereabouts, isn't it? But it would have been nice.
And the police Sunstreaker would have had Polis Contash on it. Like police spelt wrong. It's Polis. That's what exists on the vintage toy. I've owned a number of police Sunstreakers, and all of them have been stickers unapplied. Sometimes because they just didn't have stickers, or because they were unused. So actually having cordon with the sticker detail on the toy, it adds a lot of color where most specimens of the Diaclone don't have color normally. So it's still quite weird for me to see this toy with the red and black detailing that you get around the seat and all that, because normally it's just black and white because no stickers have been applied. So
it kind of shines through a little bit, some of that color, doesn't it? So, and again, I know we kind of started the episode saying this, but that engine block just looks
incredible.
So amazing. The intakes and everything. Just
incredible.
I'm looking at a picture of it now in someone's hand. And it's absolutely amazing. Just some random dude's hand, but the color and everything.
I think that's my only bugbear, that there's no way of recreating a totally unused vintage toy look with the missing link Sunstreaker. You can't do it because it's got the headlights, it's got the sticker detail is on that engine block. That's the only thing. And I must admit, when I saw it in the box for the first time, and I saw that black CR sticker along the side of the car, I was like, oh, is that used? Oh, no, wait, that's how it comes now, from the factory. Because obviously you look at an unused G1 Sunstreaker or a Diaclone, and it's completely blank car on the side as well. Yeah. That's the only thing I think that's the only bit I miss, but it's really minor. It's worth it.
This is it. And I guess all of this stuff, like the car robo thing as well and whatever else, they have to make choices down the line,
Definitely.
don't they?
Yep.
It's impossible for them to kind of recreate every element of it and every different permutation and what have you of how these original toys came. So they have to make choices, and I think we can sort of respect that actually this is something new as well, and you can sort of see the logic of what they're trying to do with it, I think.
Why do you think they didn't put the car robo text on the waist? Because they've got CR on the side, so they're not trying to create anime Sunstreaker, obviously. I wonder why they didn't go with that.
I really don't know. That one is baffling to me. I'm not going to lie. That one is really strange. I would love to know.
Oh, but what about this? I encourage fans to measure and analyze the toys themselves and try to uncover what the original developers were aiming for. If you find that fun, you might just have what it takes to work on Transformers. I think I need to apply for a job, man.
I was going to say, so much of this interview is speaking directly to you, Maz, specifically. It's so funny.
And I'm going to be that really awkward, deluded fan who's like, yes, it was written for me. They are speaking directly to me.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Although it might just be a translation thing, but I do have a small minor critique that he refers to it as Transformers and not the Transformers. It's missing link.
That might be a translation thing.
That
might well be a translation thing. We don't know if the is as important in Japan as it is over here. I don't know.
That's true.
We'd have to see. But yeah, honestly, I just think all of this is incredible. And, it quickly sort of snowballs, doesn't it? From like, okay, we're getting RC, which was amazing. And now suddenly we might be getting Magnus and Powered Buggy and a hubcap and Galvatron and a Metroplex, perhaps. Well, not really, but like it's absolutely incredible.
Where's Hot Rod?
Well, this is it. Like, what's after that? Where's Hot Rod? Where's so many of these things? And when do we get to kind of replace more of those vintage toys,
Yeah. It's just it's the best thing happening in Transformers right now.
I just keep thinking, like, they have to do the Datsuns. And does that
sure.
mean we finally can get, like, a G1 style Blue Shriek?
It would be
affordable.
ridiculous not to. Ridiculous if we don't get that.
That is exactly the right word for it. It would be ridiculous. If they don't do that, I feel like we will have, like, the line will have...
Failed?
Yeah. I don't want to say it, but it will have failed.
But it will prove that there is a actual directive to never reissue that color.
Yeah.
Because the opportunities they've had to do that are numerous.
That's so true.
And they've done it as Masterpiece. They've done it as every other possible variety of Datsun adjacent toy that has been a Transformer. We've had it at Legend scale, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And Earthrise, they did it as well.
This is the only size class and version of toy that we haven't had it in. Like, that's all.
So true.
I mean, I have the vintage, and I don't care. I want it as Missing Link. Because
so do I.
It will not diminish that vintage at all. I simply don't care about that. I remember there are people out there who don't like reissues because it devalues originals. If they have any problem with Missing Link, I just pity them, honestly.
Yeah.
If it's on that basis of it encroaches on it. Like all the people with Diaclone Police Sunstreakers, if you're not rejoicing at this release, I feel so sorry for you, genuinely.
Yeah. I don't see it as the same thing at all. I don't think it encroaches.
You get to experience the toys from a new perspective. The same, like, in a whole new way.
You can touch it, guys. You can take it out of the box. It's not yellow.
I was going to say, it's still white.
Yeah, it proves that all surfaces on that toy originally were meant to be the same shade.
Yeah.
Stop convincing yourself it was meant to be like that. It's yellow.
It's not the same league at all, I know, but I have a vintage spin out, the red one, and I'm still very excited about the idea of doing the red Countach as well, as this. I think it'll be incredible to see. And I look forward to witnessing the two together.
Yeah, for me, it's totally removed the need to ever own that Diaclone again. And that's great news for Diaclone collectors because it's one less person that you'll ever have to worry about getting there ahead of you, honestly.
There we go.
All those people having night terrors about Maz stealing the Diaclones. Sleep easy.
Exactly.
Sleep easy.
Exactly.
So overall then, pretty exciting times. What are you looking forward to most?
Getting Sunstreaker and Corden in hand. And that's just days away. I feel like this is the best possible moment. That moment before it lands in hand. You're getting excited from seeing everyone else's specimens in hand. That was a sentence, wasn't it?
That was a choice. A choice of words.
It's a different line. That's missing kinks, isn't it?
There are other things that rhyme with missing too. But wait, there is this very, very key line we haven't talked about. Thanks to strong support, the Missing Link team is now operating smoothly, and we're planning to release new products regularly.
I know, regularly.
Yeah. While we'll focus on updated style figures, we also want to mix in more experimental items. So it's not going to be all experimental. They're going to carry on giving us updated G1 as well.
Sounds
more
like it's
regularly, smoothly. They're doing a third release of the Optimus Prime. It's doing well. This is great.
Yeah.
Like, what's next?
Yeah.
Speed it up.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, for me, we said it at the start, but for me, this is without a doubt the most exciting thing happening in Transformers right now. And
for the last 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. And there is great stuff going on elsewhere as well. I mean, Generations is doing really well at the moment. There's lots of exciting stuff happening. HasLabs, there's all kinds of stuff going off, but this takes precedence for me, without a doubt.
It's the mystery of what they could do next. That everything they're doing there, they're just teasing you, but they're putting they're just saying everything's on the table. Like, don't just confine yourself to thinking it's just going to be G1 or one thing or the other.
And it's not compromised.
Yeah.
It's not like us looking at the next retro reissue and thinking, it might be Astro Train in grey, but what will they have to do to make it interesting, or why haven't we had this or that yet? It could be anything, exactly. And it's not with cutting corners. They remolded the repaint just to get the sticker detail accurate. Come on.
Yeah, that is just
Who would have cared about that?
There's a degree of thoughtfulness in it as well, which just makes you feel like you're going to get the thing you wanted. Like, what else could they do? You just start thinking about all the toys that were cancelled.
But will we live long enough to see it?
The animated toys, was it like Marauder Megatron and stuff like that? And it's like, could they go there?
Yeah, absolutely. Missing Link animated Marauder Megatron is totally on my bingo card.
Could well be. You don't know, but
it fits the definition, right?
It does.
But can you imagine if the future for this toy line, like for as far as we are concerned, is now getting toys you didn't get? It's just all the stuff that was cancelled, like the Micromaster base we talked about that was cancelled. Just all
Horse
stuff
jet.
like that. Yeah, Chrome Dome as RC, just weird stuff, just that stuff that was mooted. It was going to come out for whatever reason, didn't, and it's like this is your chance to suddenly just tie all those loops off. Just
it would be really something. Yeah,
you had a reply on one of your Twitter posts, Sixo, where you were making fun of people making fun of My Transformers 1 watermark. It was a Cyclonus picture, someone posted a really good question, like if they do Missing Link Cyclonus, how would they improve the arms and the hands?
Yeah. Right.
That's a great question. Would they do it like the prototype, with the horns split open a little bit, or how would they treat something like that? Would they do a proto version and then a release version?
We just don't know. I think the possibilities are really endless, and I think that's the difference between this and anything else that's come previously, is the level of seriousness that they seem to be applying to everything, and the levels that they're going to kind of recreate, like that sticker detail on Corden and things like this, just makes me feel like actually anything is possible at this stage, and like they're leaving no stone unturned. And we're kind of in that nice period where it's still early days, so actually there's no confines to it yet. The possibilities are endless. The potential for where they might go is wide open. And that is just a wonderful place to be at this point in time, I think.
Can I just make one more reference to that comic?
Go.
The panel where Metroplex shows up?
Yeah.
In the next picture, you've got RC, the regular pink RC. And look at the background. It's Autobot City, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
It's kind of Metroplex shaped. They'd have to do that, right? Metroplex.
Oh, well, like an orange Metroplex.
They'd have to, wouldn't they?
That would be something. That would be. But it's that kind of stuff.
Man.
Why would they not? But it's like, Liam, you mentioned the pink, Chrome Dome RC before. Yeah. Why would they not do that? If they were going to do a Missing Link Chrome Dome, why would they not do the RC repaint? Maybe they will.
It's all the stuff. Like, I thought of you, Maz, when we were talking about the Sunstreaker and the sticker detail and the way they've turned it around for Corden and stuff. Because it's like the first thing I thought of was Cyclonus and those like streak stickers and stuff like that. It's like,
next to the cockpit,
round would they do it? And it's like, ooh.
Rest assured, they do it the right way around.
Can you imagine it in the movie style blue as well, though? Like, just yes, do it.
It's a dangerous path.
But yeah, certainly, what an era for all of this stuff, right? Pretty exciting. Yeah. So, Maz, you going to come back on another time and talk to us more about Missing Link? And
next week.
Okay, great. Well, we never talk about Missing Link on this podcast, so that would be well worth it, I think.
I've heard people say the Missing Link audience is underserved by our podcast. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So they're all rabid for it.
I would love to come back and talk about RC when that's out, because that will be a brand new G1 toy.
Yeah.
What will that feel like? What is that going to be like?
Hold you to that.
Can't wait to see how that manifests into an experience that matches up with... Because I still have new G1 experiences today. Like, I played with G1 Nor for the first time this year. And I was like, wow, that's fantastic. I've never experienced this toy. It's glorious. It's so G1. It's just wonderful. It's bizarre. My wife and daughter were in hysterics at this weird frogman that they called it. And I loved it. I loved it so much. So yes, getting to experience that again is finite, but maybe not anymore.
Maybe not.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Right, well, it's that time for the part of the pod where we talk about our sponsor, and that is, as ever, tfsource.com. You can check them out for all your Transformers needs, but we're going to do what we always do, which is check out what they've got in stock and available for pre-order right now, and just talk about an item. And tonight, Matthew. I think considering that Maz is back on the pod in fine form, it makes sense to give it a bit of a Diaclone flavour. And we do have, coming up, the Shield D Prime Synergex series, Zoids times Diaclone times Transformers. T-Spark. What is the name of this thing? Because it's just like
Zoid Prime.
It's like a word
Convoy.
salad, isn't it? It's so many words. Yeah, Zoid Prime.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is, right? It's Zoid Optimus Prime.
It actually is just that. I actually think it's more Zoid Prime than anything else, because the Diaclone part really got shafted. It's a bizarre little flying bit of the lion.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the best parts about the Diaclone line is the ridiculously amazing vehicles that you can create. Like awesome futuristic jets. If there was an element of that to this toy, not just a cockpit with some bizarre attachments and a teeny bike and a couple of Dynauts. It's got a Dynaut as well.
They love sticking that bike in places, don't they?
Yes. It gets everywhere.
Where do they stick it in the cat?
I've got one Diaclone toy, and even I've got the bike.
The bike is really like the main feature of a lot of these toys. It does look so good, this thing.
It really does.
Since they first announced that they were going to do a Zoids crossover, I was like, "Oh man, I'm in for that."
Yeah, I didn't see a reality where I didn't own this thing.
No, exactly.
And yet,
my God, the price.
$300.
The price of it.
The price is not right.
Yeah.
No.
Except for at TF Source, where it's a great price, and you should totally go and buy it.
Yeah, exactly. Bearing in mind this is a sponsor segment, but they won't mind us pointing it out.
Isn't this one of the better priced sites, actually?
Yeah, I think
compared to some of the ones out
bargains
there.
and deals.
I think what's mad about this thing is that all three of us want it. We all really like
so
it.
much.
And yet none of us is going to buy it.
It's huge too.
Is it absolutely massive?
I think it's quite large.
Are we still talking about the toy?
Yes and yes. I mean, hasn't anyone seen it in comparison to some of the other figures that are coming out? I'm sure there was a shot recently at an exhibition where this thing was alongside.
It looks big.
I didn't get that vibe. I guess only because it stood next to some of the Diaclone drivers, and it doesn't look that big compared to them. And you can see they're in the chest. To me, it was probably about like Dire Battles sort of size.
For the price, that's not really what you want.
No, but that was what really got me about it. Because if you look, there's a Dynaut in the chest of it, in the little cockpit chest thing, in the robot mode. And it's just it's like, honestly, it could be maybe a little bit bigger than Dire Battles, but not much. I don't know.
It's not big powered size, is it?
No, definitely not.
Actually, I'll take that back. It ain't that big at all.
Yeah, the only reference we've got is the stand. It's that stand. I think they've used that before, haven't they?
Yeah, that's true. But bearing in mind that Dire Battles, the original, is like Masterpiece Carbot size, this might be Ironhide size, maybe, at most.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it.
I would guess, and for 300, I know that, like, obviously size does not determine price, right? Like, we know that. But
size
still,
doesn't matter. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I'm not trying to say that. I think the size is important, but I also think $300.
No, it's strange because we've had all these 80s crossovers, and then this is like two 80s toy lines colliding in the most expensive way possible.
Three 80s toy lines, really. I mean,
yeah.
But they've all brought $100 to the table, haven't they? That's the problem.
It's a three-way split. Yeah. But it looks so good, and it kind of feels like a real shame. Like it's going to be so out of the reach of so many people, including probably myself, because I love it, but I don't think at $300 love it.
Yeah,
from TF Source, where I think it's very reasonably priced. But I love the Dynaut in the chest. I think that's just a really nice little thing.
So cool. So many cool details about this. And the Zoid that this is based on is really, I don't want to say it's iconic, because
it's the main one. The main one is. Sort of everyone remembers, isn't it? So.
The Liger, right, isn't it?
The Liger, yeah. It's just so amazing. And like, I remember this very vividly, seeing this Zoid as a kid and just thinking it was the coolest thing ever. And so I would love to have this displayed in Zoids mode or whatever. But I just, for that price, no. It's inconceivable.
Pretty sure 2 out of 3 of us will own this toy by the end of the year.
Which two?
You two.
Oh, you say that.
Sixo, you're a lock. It's between me and Maz here, and I feel like
I'm definitely not a lock, man. I've actually not really looked at many of the pictures or anything.
Just stop fighting it. We know it's going to happen.
Unless it suddenly turns up at like 50% discount or something, then I might consider it. But
honestly, I think to go with the tone of the episode, like it depends what missing link is coming out this year.
Exactly.
That's
this
what
is the thing.
Absolutely everything I buy now is like do I want it more than I want a third Sunstreaker?
Yeah,
do I
yeah.
want it more than I want a second RC? That's literally how I'm thinking about toys right now.
This is kind of crazy that it's coming out in the era of Missing Link, because as a kid, like, people looked at these and they would say, "Oh, those Transformers," you know, and it's just kind of like funny that now there is a Transformer Zoid and it's happening.
Oh, that's
this
true.
sort of 80s connection happening at this. You know, they're giving a new life to that toy line as well in some way.
But you've got to do it right, and you've got to price it right. For example, the Lego Transformers Optimus Prime is probably priced right, but it doesn't mean it's ticking my boxes in a way where, like, I absolutely have to own that thing. I do own it. I've never opened it, and I could happily part with it without ever opening it. And this is like, they've done it right, but they haven't priced it right. So
exactly,
it's got to do more than just exist.
I think that's what I was sort of saying to you the other day. Is it's like I think it looks incredible. I'm so in awe of everything they've packed into this. But at some point, maybe they need to start with kind of a rough idea of what the retail price is going to be, and then work back from that. You know, it's like you can't just throw everything at the wall and then make it $300 and think, yeah, cool. Do you know what I mean? We're done, because it's just pricing out so many people. And at a point where, you know, we're also getting HasLabs and Generation stuff out the wazoo and Missing Link and everything else as well. It's just, I don't know who's getting this, honestly.
Yeah, it's a bit of a question.
There's a horrifying thought, though, is that in a couple of years, you know, it's going to be even more expensive.
Yeah.
It has that vibe of something you're like, this, it feels like something special enough that, I don't know, it's just only going to go up.
Especially anything remotely Diaclone as well right now.
That's the thing. That's the absolute thing. Depressing thought, isn't it? But it does look beautiful. I mean, you know, not to go on about the price, but the actual thing itself is lead and paint. It's got a stunning head sculpt.
Yeah.
The engineering looks really quite something.
Everything you could ever want.
Super creative.
Yeah, even the thing, like, if you look at it in Zoids mode, just those 3 cannons under his belly with the gold colouring and the red on the inside, that looks great. That's so Diaclone to go to that level. So nice.
Does it have a light in the cockpit?
Yeah, I did see that image where it looked like it was illuminated.
Yeah.
I don't think it does, but yeah, it does look like it might light up.
It's the one where it's pouncing next to the bike.
Yeah, that would sort of explain the cost if they've put electronics in it and stuff as well.
Cost of light bulbs.
Yeah, exactly.
LED lights,
yeah. But I don't think it does, no. So, but, you know, it is there, and some people are definitely going to want it, I'm sure. So, you know, you should absolutely go and check it out at tiersource.com. We think it's rather pricey, but, you know, what do you think? You can tell us, or
I think it's going to sell, because I know people who are buying it, and I know people who can't wait to get it in hand, and they're 100% in. And they're used to these prices because that's what Diaclone costs.
That is very true. That is, yes. It is the entry price for Diaclone.
Interested and unique, and it's nostalgic for multiple.
Yeah, it's going to sell. It's going to, and also what do we know about the Zoids community? They're going to be buying it too. It's not just the Transformers community. It's not just the Diaclone community. It's going to be the Zoids fan base as well. This is appealing to 3 simultaneous fan bases. This is going to disappear, no question.
Zoids community, and there are dozens of them.
Yeah, they'll all buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
All 30 of them.
Do you think there's a Zoid podcast out there where they're talking about this and going, I'm not buying it because it doesn't go zzz.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It doesn't make the noise. It doesn't make the noise.
Which is funny because Diabattles does.
Yeah, it's true. The irony. But yes, you should, if you are interested in this thing and the price is right for you, then absolutely go and check it out. It looks stunning. And you can find it at tiersource.com for all your Transformers needs.
And Diaclone.
Zoid needs and Diaclone needs and all the rest of it. Go and check it out.
We now return to the Transformers.
Right, well, I think that's going to about do it for Missing Link. And Maz, again, it's been an absolute delight to have your fine self back on the pod.
It has been a pleasure.
Yeah, I've loved it.
My favourite topic.
You're not quite gone yet, are you? Because we've got a little bit more to come. Because we've got to talk about the fact that we do, as ever, have a Patreon or a Patreon or whatever you want to call it. So, of patrons. Yeah, Patreon of patrons. And Maz, you still remember the old Patreon, right? You still pop in on the Discord?
Yes, I have been pretty much there the whole time.
Yeah, we love having you around. So
still trying to sell that fans hobby Meg Tyranno.
I've enjoyed your journey with that toy, like how excited you were about it. And then
Is it still a journey if you never go anywhere? I don't know.
Just stuck in a lay-by with it.
Yep. trying to catch a lift.
Stuck in a little chef car park of life.
Yes.
So, I mean, Maz, would you say that the Patreon was particularly popping? I don't know if that's something that you might tell people.
I've heard it referred to that way.
Yeah?
By
Yes.
Sixo.
And Liam, to be
Yeah,
fair.
it's you specifically, I think.
Oh, yeah,
you said
actually,
it.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Stealing his words.
Liam, you've adopted that phrase. There are many, many perks of the Patreon that obviously you want to get in on there. You know, there are 5 glorious tiers of stuff. There's everything from early access to episodes such as this, including our regular number with Jason. There are plenty of exclusive content on there as well, including specially commissioned mini-sodes, and there are mini-series as well, and a range of ongoing topics. We've actually just recorded one with Maz as well,
Hey.
so
Yay.
patrons can look forward to that because that's coming up in the next week or two as well, so very exciting. A little bit more Maz for your money. And so it's all going off. You really want to go and check it out. It's at patreon.com/Triple Takeover. And the Discord and everything is there as well. And another perk of the Patreon is that they get to ask us questions, which is always quite exciting. And we do have a couple of questions tonight from some of our longtime patrons. So you guys ready for these?
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Of course,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely
Liam, you're all prepped?
Yep, absolutely. If you say
Prepped.
so.
Okay, good stuff. Right, so from Mr. John Pearl, who's a regular feature of the Discord, often showing off his wares, he asks, from 86 onwards, G1 had so many subline gimmicks every year, but most were one wave or release and then they were done. What gimmick would you have liked to have seen receive a second wave or show up in the following year of product? So, for example, another round of Power Masters, full-size Headmasters again, or Classic Pretenders, or Autobot Duobots.
I think I would have loved another round of 1987 large target masters.
Ooh.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
As if Slugslinger, Trigger Happy, and Misfire aren't enough, imagine another 3. Just
Yeah.
with that same design philosophy, same aesthetic. 3 more Decepticon jets. There's a 4th one that
There was the 4th one.
Hey,
wasn't
Missing
there?
Link.
Yeah.
Want to make that?
There you go.
There
There you go.
Oh, wouldn't that
Exactly.
just be amazing?
Imagine
They're making
it.
that? That's
Yeah.
the thing they're talking about
That's
in the
the one
interview.
they're going to do.
You heard
That's
it here
gonna be
first. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be perfect. And then,
Confirmed.
like Sure Shot, Crosshairs, and Point Blank are fantastic. Give us 3 more
Yeah.
of those. That would be my vote.
I think that would be really something to see. I mean, equally, I would say the same of the Headmasters, the 87 Headmasters, to be honest. They're some of my favourite toys of all time. I would love to see those. All Power Masters as well. Yeah, really.
So, obviously, I was prepared and I thought about this a lot. So, my answer comes
You're going to
from
say
a...
Turbo Masters again, aren't you?
Of
It's
course
your
I
answer
fucking
for
am.
everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Of
I
course.
mean, great answer.
Yeah, imagine another wave of those guys. More missiles,
Yeah.
more hot pink. Oh,
Yes, would buy.
More missiles to
Yeah.
take your eye out.
That's been glorious, man. That era of Transformers, it just a little bit longer. wouldn't
Yeah, I
it?
mean,
Yeah.
you've
Bit more
got
time
the
spent on
cars, you've got the truck, you've got the helicopter. What about like something aquatic or
Oof.
some
Train.
construction vehicle, something like that? More a jet. Like, well, we've got
Predators.
the Predators. Yes, the
Mm.
Predators.
Predators.
So you've got them on that side, but yeah, more of that, please. And then Machine
Yeah.
Wars would have had more too. That would have been perfect.
Yeah,
That would have been good. I think all of that Euro stuff is pretty good, to be fair. You know, there's a lot of nice toys around that era, so definitely some potential to kind of get some more of that.
Another 4-6 combining Micromaster teams.
Oh, yeah.
Give us
Oh,
that.
yes.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
6 boat.
Just all
Oh.
boats.
Yeah.
6 fin.
Yeah. 6 fish. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 fish. There you go. 6 fish.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
confuse
I
the
love it.
shit out of Jason about what their like
God.
allegiance is.
Yeah, he's going to be very confused. He's going to be very confused by that one. So there you go. Thank you for the question, John. We do have another question. This is a one related to the podcast itself. This is from Holy Culture. And he asks, what percentage of your patrons are from the UK and from the US? Now, I must admit, I've just read that it's asking about patrons specifically, and I don't know that information because actually Patreon doesn't give you those sorts of stats. It just doesn't tell you, basically.
Oh, it's 50% UK, 50% US, 50% rest of the world.
I was actually quite surprised because I looked up the stats, and you guys might be surprised by this as well. I looked up the stats from elsewhere of where our general audience is, and it actually varies quite a bit.
Isn't it all Ohio, actually? Because you remember when we set up the Discord, it's like the entire population of Ohio seemed to pour into
quite a
it.
lot of
It's like,
people
oh, you're
in
from my
Ohio,
neighborhood,
weren't
mate.
there? Yeah. We have had various people on the Discord meeting up like locally and stuff like this. There've been a few sort of like regional meetups and things.
Yeah. We got very upset about that, didn't we? We said no, all conversation has to happen on Discord.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to take the conversation off Discord.
Official business.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, we had to insist on that. But so I was quite surprised. So I looked up the stats, and it's been a while since I've done this. Now I'm going to have to split it between YouTube and other, because most of our pod listening happens off YouTube. We have a sort of relatively small percentage of our listening actually happens on YouTube, and most of it is elsewhere. So typically, our audience is mostly the USA, and it's about, on YouTube, it's about 33% of our listeners are from the US. But actually, interestingly, elsewhere, like all other platforms, Apple Podcasts, all of that kind of stuff, it's 47% of our listeners are from the US.
That does actually track with, do you remember very early on we were giving shout outs to people who were leaving comments on Apple Podcasts? Like the US version of the site had by far the most comments.
It's so true. It's so true. So most of our listeners are American. So I hope you're all enjoying our accents and things like that.
Yeah.
So
howdy there, US partners.
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy.
I'm not doing that.
There's a snake in my boots. That's all.
Okay, sure.
That sound was half of your listenership logging out.
Yeah, exactly.
So the stat is now changed.
We've just lost them. Interestingly, yes, the UK is number 2, and in so many ways, but number 2 listeners for us as well. Particularly right now, my God.
Brilliant.
Everything going on. Good God, going down the tubes. But that's by the by. It's 16% on YouTube, roughly, is the listenership from the UK, and then 26% elsewhere.
And he thought he wasn't on form tonight. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
It's too hot, man.
Sixo.
The heat wave, yeah. Next up varies, actually. It's either Canada or Australia, depending on which platform you're on. Elsewhere outside of YouTube, both of them are around 6 to 7% of our listenership from Australia and Canada. A little bit less on YouTube. It seems to vary. Next up, it's Germany on YouTube with about 1%, and roughly about the same, actually, Germany about 1.3% elsewhere. Or
Guten
Netherlands.
Tag. There we go. To our
Guten Tag, yes.
Yeah.
Ich spiele guten Gitarre and all of that. So
Schießen Fensters means shoot the glass. I learned that from Die Hard.
There you go.
Come give me deine Hand.
Anyway, we also have listeners from the Philippines, Indonesia, South Africa, Ireland, Poland,
Diplomatic
Malaysia,
community. There we go.
Sweden.
Do you remember where we were the top podcast in hobbies? Do you remember we looked at the categories and we were like number 1
Gardener's
somewhere?
World. Weren't we like second?
No, that was in the UK.
Just behind Gardener's World.
Yeah, not second, Liam. We were in like the top 8.
We were not
or
second.
Something.
Yeah, we cracked pretty high numbers at one point. Yeah, definitely. But then we were like number 1 in some really unexpected countries. I think
it was excellent. Yeah.
Andorra, probably.
I'm always amazed, though. Honestly, like, I just assumed that it would be like 15 people in a UK pub garden listening to us or something, and the fact that there are people from Poland and
I mean that is the nature of the pod. That is the origins of the pod.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I assumed it would end up being, but it's just wonderful that so many people are listening from all over the world. It's really nice.
I'm impressed that you had so many metrics available. I thought you were just going to be like, there's some people over there and some people over there.
Stats, man. You see, you got to keeping it real with the stats. That's how
he's
I roll.
A YouTube guy now. He's 90% stat.
All about those stats. Got to get that algorithm working for you. And then moving on to the third question for the evening. This should be a relatively quick one, but it's from our old mate Steve, or Skywarp SCS, who's a great big friend of the pod. And I say a great big friend of the pod because he is great and big. Very, very tall man. I think he's about 7'2". So he really is quite massive. Taller than Jason, I reckon, I want to say. Liam, what do you think from your perspective?
What of looking up?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you, from that
I feel like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone 2 when he sees the robbers when I walk over, like looking up, like bloody hell.
So, well, he's asking, taking character preferences out of the equation, which is the best G1 Dinobot toy and why is it Snarl?
He's already answered it.
Would that be your answer?
That would be my answer.
What about the waist thing? You pick it up and the waist goes kadunk down. That doesn't bother you. You can live with that?
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely live with that. I mean, Grimlock feels like a Kinder Egg. Not even a Kinder Egg toy, but just the Kinder Egg.
Well, this is so funny. This is kind of why I put this question in for tonight in the mix, because I know that you've got your irrational hatred of G1 Grimlock.
Oh, I don't want them to do a missing link Grimlock. Just no. That would be a disappointment. There you go. That would be a disappointment.
It's such a good toy. It's great.
You get it in G2 colours, man. Could I get all the colours you ever wanted?
I don't care about G2 Grimlock. It's only Sixos that turned the world upside down for a teal G2 Grimlock.
Oh, yeah. Bring it on. Bring it on in all colours.
Sixo grade one as well. So.
Yeah. I hope they do it in Missing Link. I hope they do teal, blue,
Missing Link, non-masturbating Tyrannosaurus Rex. Brilliant. That's what everybody wants.
Imagine if they do the Tiger Stripe one. My life will be, done.
No, hang on. You make a very good point. I stand corrected.
Tiger Stripe.
I do care about Tiger Stripe Grimlock.
There you go.
And I would buy that.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I thought he was going to say, I hope you choke on your Grimlocks.
He hopes that too. That nothing has changed now.
That's just par for the course.
That's just a given.
But yeah, I like Snarl the best. I think he looks the best in Dinobot mode, and also in robot mode. His robot mode is perfect.
My favourite is Sludge, by the way.
Sludge is very good too.
Yeah, I love a bit of Sludge, but I had him as a kid, so he's an automatic banger.
Terrible stickers. Terrible.
Yeah, they peel
stickers.
off.
Yeah. I do actually love Swoop, but I haven't owned a Swoop which didn't have problems. But I do absolutely love Swoop. But the thing is also, Snarl had the best foil sticker in the Panini catalogue, so that's why it wins.
Fair enough. I like his shiny head. What about you, Liam?
Yeah, well, you guys know my journey with Swoop, but it wasn't my favourite one. As a kid, I had Grimlock and Slag. I think I would go with Slag.
Nice.
Just because the nostalgia. And he has ginormous, massive boots. And that weird tail transformation that even to this day, I still feel like I get it wrong.
See, what if they did a Missing Link Slag and they do the G2 in all the different colours, but then what if they did the Canadian one as well?
That's the way they'd have to go.
That would be cool, wouldn't it? That would be something. Yeah.
He's got one of the best head sculpts as well, that little face that flaps down. Really, really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I really like Slag as well. So, well, there you go. Those are the questions for the evening from our patrons. So if you want to ask a question yourself, you can do so. You can head over to patreon.com/Triple Takeover. Get on there. You can get on the Discord, get all the additional content. We worked it out, and we've got it's over 100 minisodes now, and over, I think, 75 mini-series. So actually, we're, 108 public episodes? We've got more than that in terms of Patreon content, which is incredible. So it's so much stuff on there. You could go and listen, and I think you'd be not done within the next week. Let's put it that way. Just literally back-to-back solid listening to me, Maz, Jason, and the other one. It would just be absolutely amazing. I know who you are. Don't worry. I'm just hot and tired.
Thank you. I'm grateful that you do.
He just can't see you all the way down there.
No.
I can't remember more than 3 people at once, right?
I thought that was what Steve's question was going to be. Where's Liam?
Yeah.
got the magnifying glass out.
Yeah. So get yourself over to patreon.com/Triple Takeover and check us out on there for all your needs. And otherwise, you can also find us on socials and everything else. Just check us out with Triple Takeover. We're out there. You've got Instagram. You know how this stuff works. You can look us up, right, Liam?
You can. You can find us on all of the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Those are the ones.
Other ones. YouTube.
Blue Sky.
Go to the YouTube. Yeah, Blue Sky on there. Go and have a look. But of course, what the people want to know, Maz, is where can they find you since you disappeared?
I'm still at TF Square 1 on Blue Sky, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Did you choose that name because of that movie? That recently came out?
After the movie.
It was some pretty awesome foresight. I'm still waiting for that website money to come in when someone buys my domain.
Sitting on
Keep waiting.
TF1.com. Come on.
Yeah. Sixo, you're everywhere. You're omnipresent.
I'm just out there. Look me up on YouTube.
You are social media.
They're making new platforms for him.
Yeah.
He's tall enough.
I don't need platforms.
And I'm talking about soapbox anyway, there's that.
So that's going to about do it for tonight. Thank you so much to Maz, who, as ever,
thank you for having
remains...
me. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, you're very welcome. As ever, remains an integral part of the Triple Takeover crew. So we hope he'll be back again before too long. Anyway,
Would love
so you
to.
can look forward to that.
Whenever he wants.
Yeah. Always with us in spirit. Gone but not forgotten.
In memoriam.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to play Celine Dion at the end of this episode as well, are we?
No.
We've already had it on at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has been a great pleasure.
Yeah.
And otherwise, do hit us up and let us know what you think of Missing Link. Do you think it's likely that we're going to see Magnus and all of that other stuff? We didn't even talk about Ironhide and Ratchet. They said they might do that as well. We didn't even talk about it. But, let us know your thoughts on all of this amazing stuff. Are you excited for it all? What are you thinking? And otherwise, you can catch us for the next episode.
It's huge too.
Is it absolutely massive?
I think it's quite large.
Where do they stick it in the cat?
Actually, I take that back. It ain't that big at all.